What's up, guys? Welcome to the Crypto Savvy channel. I'm Craig, and we're going to be going over the charts and show you why charts are so important. As you guys know, I don't like to use a lot of indicators. You'll watch a lot of these channels that they'll show an indicator that shows the Bitcoin has bottomed, and then 2 weeks later, they're showing a whole different indicator. I don't switch indicators. I use the RSI because it's actually the only true indicator that actually moves with the price and actually shows you what's going on in real time, not lagging like a lot. My other favorites are the EMAs. The EMAs are extremely important in my opinion. I use the 8, the 13, the 21, and the 55. As you guys know, I do have an EMA strategy. You can check that out on my YouTube page. Go to the short tutorials. There's one in there showing you how. There's actually a couple indicators that people have made for me on TradingView. I've talked about them in the past. Anyways, let's take a look at some things I wanted to show you in the charts, right? So everybody's talking about this weekly bullish divergence, right? It's huge divergence, massive bullish sign, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not being negative, guys. There is opportunity in what I'm telling you. It's just not the opportunity you want to hear that you can just hold on to something and get rich. That's not really how it works, guys. So stick around. I'm also going to show you guys my Netflix and my oil chart at the end of the video, which are very important to what's going on with everything else. So make sure you stick around for that. Also, I'll show you my 10-year plan at the end of the video with Bitcoin. Make sure before we go any further, take a second out, go down, smash that thumbs up. Leave your comments. Let me know what you think. I may be doing a trading competition too. I'll talk about that here in a minute. And I'll ask you guys for your feedback on how we should do that. So anyways, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And also, the most important thing, make sure your notification bells are ticked to get notified when I post new videos. So back to the charts. So you're getting a higher high in the RSI, lower high in the price action, right? Bullish divergence. But we are in a weekly downtrend. If you look here, we're making lower highs in the price action, higher highs in the RSI. That is hidden bearish divergence. Now, when you have hidden bullish divergence in a bullish trend, that's more powerful than bearish divergence, right? It's a continuation of the trend. So when you have hidden bearish divergence in a weekly, you're on a weekly chart. So on the weekly chart, we are in a massive downtrend. So a hidden bearish divergence is a continuation of the trend being down, right? So I'm still thinking we're going much lower, and I'll explain that, although I do think we'll get a big bounce sometime in February or March, and possibly that may line up with the time that Fed's going to pivot right after that, sometime in May or June, it looks like, by looking at the charts, guys. I don't care what the news is saying or whatnot. If you guys been around for any amount of time, you'll know on December 2nd, we'll be going over the chart I made back then. I also made a video on December 2nd, 2021, talking about all of this happening, and it is playing out. You can also check that out on my YouTube page. It's posted right when you open the page. I'll also leave a link to it at the end of the video up top. So anyways, as you can see, hidden bearish divergence, right? Let me show you something too. People want to keep looking at the weekly on Bitcoin, but if you look at the monthly, we've talked about this for a long time. It's a much older chart now, so you can start looking at the monthly for what's going on. It's been around a lot longer now, so the weekly RSI is huge, right? You could say there's hidden bullish divergence here, but you could also say that Bitcoin has a lot further to go. It got rejected at this monthly RSI trend line, right? So let's see what's going on here. Now, if you look at the monthly from the last few lows, there is no bullish divergence, right? None at all whatsoever. No bullish divergence, right? And there is a lot of room for more downside. Now, as I stated, we may get a little bit more downside, come back up, get a rally, and I'll show you what my targets are for those. They've been the same for over a year now. So stick around. We'll go through it. I'll explain it the best I can on this video. It's kind of hard making a video talking to yourself and acting as if you're actually talking to people, right? So anyways, so make sure I know you're real people. Leave a comment down below. Anyways, so we've been showing this chart also, right? So when we had our big drop here, that we got a big bounce, once we broke that, where we got the drop right here, once we broke that, we never came up to break it. That was at that 32,944, right? That was where it dropped here. And as you can see, I have the arrow. It never made it back up. Then we had our next drop right here. Everybody was expecting a retest, but if you zoom in there, that was at 25,321. We never made it back above it. So where we're at right now, we talked about that being the same thing right there. Once we had this drop, we dropped below it. It's at about 17,564. Now, if we get above that and get support, then we can start looking for that 18.4. But as long as we're below this, I still think we are going to continue to the downside. So if you draw a trend line here, this is a daily. If you draw a trend line here, we're getting a bounce right at that area, right? Let me zoom in there. So once we break this area, and right now that currently, let me get it a little more accurate here. So right now, if we break this low at 16,750 range. So if we break that 16,750, we'll probably get a quick little dump, maybe come back up, retest that trend line, but more continuation to the downside. The same thing I've been talking about for a long time. Now, this is the drawn out version, right? So this would get us possibly to the end of this month, just making a range here, right? I showed you guys this. Let me zoom in just so you can see it. Also wanted to show you here in the RSI, we dropped back below this trend line, came back up, tested it for support, getting rejected, right? So let's take a look here. Let me get the RSI off there for a minute. Looking at this as a B, and a C, right? And that being a big wave B. The wave A was up here, then wave B. We got A, B, C right here, which would be the wave C in yellow. Then we have another A, B, C possibly coming. That would get us back down to around this 15.3 area. But that doesn't mean we go straight down, right? We get a bounce somewhere maybe around the 16,000 again, bounce back up to that 16.8 range, and then come back down. And then we get another one. So this could take all month. This is a 4-hour chart, guys. So, you know, obviously, let me put it in the daily, see if it'll still show on there. It's kind of messy. I'll keep it back on the 4-hour. Whoops, that's the 4-day. We don't want the 4-day. We want the 4-hour. But anyways, that is what we may be seeing. And then once we break, as you guys know, on my weekly, I have a target around that 14.5 range, which will probably get a bounce, come back up to retest this. If we break past that 14.5, then obviously we may have a quick capitulation back down to the 12.5. But again, guys, remember, I'm looking for a false bottom that we're nowhere near yet, in my opinion, around 75 to 8,500 before a rally. And I'll explain that as we go into the video. Here's the daily. Looking at this descending triangle right here, that one actually gets us down to around the 75 to 8,500, right? But remember, we have the weekly target somewhere around 14.5. We'll probably see that sometime this month, get a bounce there, possibly rally back up to the 16.8 range before continuing down. Ultimately, I do have a bottom all the way down here at 35 to 4,500. Something else I've been showing you guys, this higher or lower high in the price action, higher high in the RSI, in the daily also, that is hidden bearish divergence. The daily is in a downtrend, continuation of the trend. This may sound repetitive, but I'm trying to get this into your guys' head so you quit getting fooled by all the dollar cost average, the bottom is in, all that stuff, guys. You got to be careful with this stuff. You could be making so much money shorting this all the way down. Now, let's say we did bottom here, right? Well, I'll show you the point where I see a macro reversal and this changes my whole plan. I'll show you that also in the charts coming up. If you guys are interested in trading, definitely check out Prime XBT. I will be having a trading contest. I'll talk about that in a second. But if you do want to trade on there or you know, try your hand in trading, you can join the free contests. Doesn't cost you anything to kind of get used to the platform, you know, dabble in trading without any risk. But if you do want to trade on there, you can use my promo code Savvy50. That'll get up to a $7,000 bonus. Savvy25 can get you up to a 25% off of your trading fees, which is pretty huge, right? You could trade Forex, gold, crypto, silver, S&P, Dow Jones, pre-market, post-market, everything, all from one exchange. They don't trade against you like the scam exchanges. You don't get the big crazy scam wicks. Definitely check them out if you haven't already. There is a link down below, and I will leave a tutorial at the end of the video. So if you're interested in checking that out, do so. I'm in talks with them right now. Obviously, they do sponsor the channel. I'm in talks with them right now about having a trading contest. We had one a while back that was pretty successful. We gave away NFTs. So let me know if you guys would like to have an NFT as a prize for the winner, or if you have any other ideas, leave it in the comment section down below. If you do think NFTs, looking for around maybe a $3,000 NFT for the winner. So maybe give me a suggestion of what ones you'd like to see if that is your choice. Anyways, let's get into it. Looking at the Dow Jones, as you guys know, I've been bearish on the Dow Jones, but still having a possibility of one more pump up to retest this trend line on the daily. That's always a possibility in here, guys. So, you know, I'm not saying that it's not going to pop up past this high, because it is possible, although it's not looking very likely at the moment. But here was the high. I highly doubt we break that high, right? As you can see, from this high to this high, we made higher highs in the RSI, lower highs in the price action, hidden bearish divergence, which had this big dump. If you look at where we're at now, same thing. We had a higher high here, lower high here. Let me get this stuff out of the way. Higher high here, lower high here, hidden bearish divergence, continuation of the trend. The trend is down. Let's look at the weekly real quick. I'll show you in that also. As you can see off of these highs here, hidden bearish divergence, guys. All these charts line up, all of them. DXY, as you guys know, I'm still bullish on the DXY. It's getting a little pullback today. Will it continue? We'll see. But as you guys know, in the big picture, I'm bullish on the DXY. You can see we dip below the 200 EMA here. That's not, you know, uncommon in a bull rally, right, for the DXY. I think the DXY is going much, much higher. Here's my weekly chart, and reason being, this was the 80s, right? As you can see, that 55 EMA, the yellow, was support all the way up. Did break it a few times to the downside a little bit. So, but as you can see, I think we're doing pretty much the same thing here. The measured move of this falling wedge here is about 170 to 180. All right, now we're going to take a look at Netflix, and we're going to take a look at oil after this. But before that, make sure you check out my wife's webpage, inkyourimage.com. There is a link down below. She makes a lot of cool personalized gifts. You can put whatever you want on any of this stuff. Tons of different stuff, guys. Also, the hottest seller is the Divergence cheat sheet. It's a mouse pad, so you can have it right next to you. I know a lot of people have issues with Divergence, but right there is the cheat sheet. Check it out. And that's also a great way to help support the channel. Happy wife, happy life. And let's take a look at Netflix. So Netflix, here are my targets for Netflix. First target being 158, right? And that's just a break of this rising broadening wedge. Now, if we get above this wedge, then we could have one more push to the upside, you know, up to that 450 range. Pretty unlikely in my opinion. But my next target to the downside is this 158. And then if we take a look at from the break of the trend right here, all the way down to the bottom, looking at this as possibly like an ABC, that would get us down to about 97, 98 bucks. And then if we take this whole thing as a flag pull, this being the bear flag, gets us down to around 32 bucks. Looking at the RSI, you could have one more, could stay in this area for a little while. The highest I see us going would be this 200 EMA, and that's around 368 to possibly get up here, make some hidden bullish divergence, and then continue to the downside. But either way, I think we're ending up down back in these levels, guys. These are huge opportunities later on next year to buy in my opinion. Looking at oil. Now, this chart's about 3, 4, maybe 5 months old. Actually, I made it before we broke this. So, yeah, back in June, I think. If you follow me on Twitter, you would have seen me post this back in June. But I had said once we broke these areas, these were my targets. My next big target is around 64. And that's just these are all Fibonacci extensions on here, right? From a swing high, swing low to swing high. And we broke our 1.72. Our next target's is 1.618 at 62.54. And if that breaks, we're looking for around 26. Now, people are always saying oil cannot go that low. How would that happen? Well, if you were around back here in 2020 when this happened, it went negative 40 bucks. So to say oil can't do anything is insane if you're, around for this. So anyways, this is what I'm looking at, guys. I think, not to say we can't get more little bounces in here, but 62.54 is the area I'm watching for. If that breaks, I can see us going as low as 26. And if you remember back here, this was 2008. Remember, I think we are in probably a much worse situation than 2008, but you can see what happened back then, right? And that was a 77% fall. So if we did that from our high here, that would get us down to that 26.9 range, right? We could also go much lower than that, but that's what I'm looking at. And if you're interested in what I'm looking at in the Bitcoin chart, this is it. We made this chart on December 2nd, also made a video in 2021 on December 2nd, and I explained what to be careful for. Now, I never tell anybody what they should do because this is not financial advice, but what I do show you is my view, my opinion, and why I see what I see, and I try to get it, explain it to you so you can make an educated decision by watching everybody else and then coming up with your own plan. But I talked about these drops and then the rallies up, drop, rally up, drop, rally up, just like we had back here in the Amazon, right? Bubble pop. And all bubble pops look very similar. I've showed some in Nintendo, Sony. Those ones have been over 20 years and never even broke their all-time high again. So there's no guarantees that we'll ever break the all-time high again. But the good thing is no matter what, there is opportunity to make money in this, right? But I told you guys to watch for these drops and then to get rallies. Everybody get bullish again. See, on every one of these drops, right? Bitcoin's gonna get support. Never go lower than this number. Never go lower than this number. Bitcoin bottom. Dollar cost average. Dollar cost average. Well, if you've been dollar cost averaging since they told you guys to start, back here in the high 60s, 69,000, you're doing pretty bad. Dollar cost averaging's not necessarily the best approach. Was it back in these days? Yeah, but people are looking at the Bitcoin chart and comparing each cycle like it's going to continue. That's not how markets work, guys. Markets are based on human emotion. I talked about this yesterday. And human emotion gives you FOMO on every one of these bounces. You don't want to miss out because it's going to new all-time highs. Well, that doesn't work out real well in the markets, guys. I showed you guys down here on the RSI, back here in the Amazon compared to .com bubble. Once this weekly RSI breaks, I think we'll get a good rally, maybe 100% rally, maybe over 100%. But I think it'll turn back around and come down because this is the big bull trap at the end of every bubble pop, right? Get one little rally before the real low. Once we break this weekly RSI over here, let me get this out of the way. I just drew this in to kind of show you what it might look like. Once we break this and actually open and close weekly above this, I think we'll get that rally, but I don't think that's going to be until sometime in February or March, the beginning of next year, right? Get a big false rally. Everybody will scream. The 4-year cycle's back on. We're headed to new all-time highs. I don't think we're going to head to new all-time highs. I think we're going to get a rejection sometime in April, May, maybe June. Come back down for the middle or end of next year, 35 to 4,500, right? All the scams and crappy over-leveraged positions had to get washed out over here in the dot-com bubble. Same thing I think is happening here. I explained that. That's why I named it the Bitcoin crypto scam washout, right? And we're seeing that. Here's the Amazon chart overlaid on the Bitcoin chart. Weekly charts, both weekly charts, times, everything lining up perfectly, guys. This is the 10-year possibility. I think this is a good possibility that this is what we're going to see. And I'm going to give you the dates, and I'm going to give you, the possible levels that we're going to hit. So if this plays out this way, this gets invalidated if we break the 55 EMA, which is the yellow EMA right here. Now, this thing is continuously moving down, but right now it is around 27,000. Now, you can continue to dollar cost average and go lower, and if it goes lower, you lose money. You can dollar cost average. You might be all right. This might be the bottom. But I'm not going to do any buying for long term unless we break this 55 EMA. But I do think we are going to hit this level first. Once we start getting down into here, I'm going to probably start, grabbing some Bitcoin. There's still a possibility it could go even lower than that, but I will probably start buying in here. I may get some, for the false bottom also, which I believe is going to be somewhere in the 65 to 8,500 range, right? But so if this was to play out this way, 35 to 4,500, middle to end of 2023. 4-year cycle, right? Doesn't mean it has to go to an all-time high. 4-year cycles are in all markets. There's certain elections at those times, right? So 38 to 40K, middle or end of 2025. Then back down, 14 to 18K, middle or end of 2028. 55 to 65K, 2029. And 22 to 26-ish. And guys, obviously, these aren't going to be exact. We will be tracking the markets, so make sure you do follow the channel. But this would be sometime in 2030. This took 10 years to break the new all-time high. Now, people say that's a 10-year bear market. Now, the bear market lasted about 2 years, and then it was up from there. So this whole time, if you bought down here, you'd made tons of money the whole time, even if you never sold again, right, for those 10 years. So all in all, this is huge opportunity, guys. Depends on how you want to play it, how you want to see it. Most people see when you say something going down is doom and gloom. It's actually opportunity if you play it correctly. So make sure you share this video, get it out if you belong to any groups or whatever, share it in there. Help the channel out by making sure you hit that thumbs up, subscribing to the channel, ticking that notification bell to get you notified when I post new videos. Leave your comments down below. Don't forget, we're going to be doing a trading competition, so let me know what your thoughts are on that below. And I'm out of here. Have an awesome day, guys. I'm out.